Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to be talking about really revolutionizing your data driven decision making with AI tools. And it's going to be really interesting as I'm going to do a lot of demo here and really kind of show you a workflow where we can capture data and essentially from a lot of the different tools that we use in the classroom. And then essentially we can really show you how it can be practically implemented within classrooms, schools, and districts. So I'm going to show you various levels of how we can do this. So appreciate you joining me. My role is I'm an EdTech integrationist for a consortium of adult schools and non-credit programs in North San Diego County. I'm a professor at two universities. I work with new teacher candidates at one university and work with faculty on EdTech integration. And then at another university, I work with doctoral students and I chair their research. So you're going to see a little bit of how I'm going to be incorporating a little bit of a research lens into this as well, because we want to be evidence informed. Now I'm a podcaster, author, and a consultant, and my website is matthewrhoads.com. And you can check out a lot of my blog, my podcast, and talked a little bit about this as well. My dissertation and my research background is on data-driven decision-making for school leaders and looking at their efficacy and the skills that are required to make data-driven decisions. So this is my wheelhouse. And I think AI is really able to revolutionize this, as a lot of the research discusses that we don't have enough time to make data-driven decision-making within our classrooms and schools. And I'll talk about that in a second after the prerequisites. So before we're going into this, I think all educators, regardless of your position, you need to have a degree of digital literacy and data literacy to really utilize data to make decisions. And in the world of AI, I think it makes it a lot easier for everyone, but you need to still have prior knowledge in the data that you're collecting and a bit about statistics and prompt engineering to do this. Additionally, I think that you also need to have really kind of willing to dabble with this and be willing to revise as you go. And also when we're talking about data-driven decision-making, we want to not forget about the qualitative side of the data, which is, the story that's behind it. We want to go beyond the numbers and hear about really the human side and the stories and context behind it. And we can do this on a wide variety of AI tools. I'm going to show you a little bit today using GPT-4 and Claude, but you can also do it to some extent on 3.5 as well as Bard. So here's the tools that we're going to be using today, and then additionally to one plugin, Consensus, which is a plugin on GPT-4 for accessing a large research database, which is really going to be important for us as we look at the data, find research that's related to it that we can check out, and then developing our action plan. Okay, so in the chat, can you please tell me your context in education? What's your position? What are you currently doing in education, as well as what do you do in your practice to make data-driven decisions? I want just a little bit of background knowledge so that I can further help I just really want to know a little bit about your background so I can cater some of my message directly to you to make it more practical for your situation. Thank you. Awesome. I appreciate this. This will help. Thank you so much for letting me know of your contacts, as this definitely will help. So let's jump into this. Really, my 4 reasons why we're doing this is that we use data so that we can be evidence informed. Ultimately, we want the data to lead us to hopefully find evidence informed practices, and a lot of data-driven decision making, and there's a lot of reaffirming of our practices as well. So that's really important for us to understand, and really we're trying to find strategies to bridge gaps and to support our students to be the best that they can be. And what's really great about the AI is that for the longest time, we had to clean data and transform it on spreadsheets. And now the AI can do it much, much more efficient. And that makes it so much easier for us. So that's something that just really want you to take with you today. Don't forget about the qualitative data. I mentioned that already. You can't forget the human element. And then I think, one of the most important elements that I alluded to earlier was time and efficiency. So this allows us to be really efficient in terms of our time. Okay, so what I'm first going to do is just take a scenario. So say, for example, I'm a 3rd grade teacher and I conducted iReady reading scores and math scores throughout 4 times during the school year, right? And then I'm going to look at the attendance data as well for the entire school year. So say I'm doing this at the very end of the school year, but we could do this, at any towards of intervals throughout the year. So that's the data I'm going to take. So what I did is on iReady, you can export data. I will be sharing the slides, yes. You can export the data from these tools as well as your student information system. I just obviously you'll take all the names off. You could, for example, put like student 1 through like 25, and that could correspond with students on your roster. So just know that make sure everyone's name's off, keep it anonymous when you're exporting this data. But once you export it, I'm going to show you how to do that. So here's a prompt that I'm going to utilize. And it states, you are a 3rd grade teacher, analyze data. I'm going to be uploading the contents, uploading that contains student iReady math and English scores from this school year, as well as yearly attendance data. I would like a descriptive statistical analysis of the data followed by several visualizations depicting that data along with a data dashboard. Last, I would like to have a short analysis in the form of a number of themes and bullet points produced that I can discuss with my principal at the end of the year conference. Here we go. So I'm going into ChatGPT, and does anyone in here have access to Plus? I highly recommend it for all educators. I know it costs $20 a month. I think it's going to go down, but you can write off your taxes as school supplies, or if you're doing any work on your own as a side hustle, I recommend it. I just really think that it's just honestly worth it. So I'm going to go to data analysis here, advanced data analysis on GPT-4, and I can upload and attach files. So I'm going to upload just recently some data that I was able to accumulate. So I'm going to put in that attendance data and that iReady score data here. So I've uploaded the data here, these 2 spreadsheets. And then I'm going to upload the prompt. And then I'm going to click go. So now what it's going to do is it's going to process this, and it's going to tell you it's thinking, and it's telling me exactly the 4 things that I asked it to do. So now it's going to be doing the descriptive analysis on the attendance data. And now it's going to also do the iReady scores. And what it does is it makes sure that the data is aligned correctly. So it's essentially cleaning it. And it's telling you what exactly the rows and columns are. and it's now doing the descriptive analysis on the days of students. So there's 25 students, there's a mean, there's a standard deviation, there's a minimum, and then it's going into percentiles. And now it's doing the same thing with reading scores. And as you can see, it's breaking down those reading scores right now, doing the descriptive statistics, and it's just breaking it down for you. And it's really, just going through this right now. And now we're going to start with the visualizations. And what's fantastic is these visualizations. So as you can see here, the number of days missed, and we can see the number of students, see that distribution here in this histogram, and it gives us some analysis there, which I really like. Then it's going distribution of reading scores across the quarters. And I like that so that you can see, the box plot here. And now it's going to give me another distribution of math scores. And then it's talking about a dashboard now. So let's see what the dashboard shows. This is something that will show the multiple data points together, the attendance as well as the reading and math scores. Here is the average attendance. Here's the math scores. Now it's giving me the overall themes, talking about attendance concerns. On average, students miss about 15 days a semester. And then it says for reading, students generally show improvement in reading score as the year progresses. However, there's increasing variability in scores in Q1 and Q3. And then it's talking about math scores show fluctuation across the quarters. However, there's a notable dip in scores in Q2, which requires attention. Outlier performance, talking about students on both sides of that spectrum. And then it gives us some recommendations here. I can show you. I can give that to you then, yes. So let me go ahead and I'm going to add this next prompt. Now I would like it to do a multivariate analysis of a correlation where it's going to, it's going to run a correlation now between the scores and the attendance. And I'm going to add a little bit. Can you provide me with visualization of this analysis as well? Here we go. So now it's going to go and now it's merging the data sets, and now it's going to now do a correlation coefficient, and it's going to run this, and probably because the data size is really small, we're going to see that it's, even though there's going to be a weak relationship, but the p-value score is essentially going to be above the 1.05 threshold. So there's too much of a variability here, but I'm just showing you this as the demo. You can do this on a whole entire school or district level as well. And I'm going to share with you a great website where you can just download real-time data in real life, where if there's education realms in it, as well as data that's outside education as well that you can play with, just so that you can practice. And I would say that the accuracy of this is essentially around like 90 to 95%. I mean, obviously it's going to hallucinate. Now it's talking about the scatter plots, show visual representation of between the attendance and iReady scores. The plots combined show the correlation coefficients. Would you like additional analysis on this topic? 3.5 is not able to do the visualizations, but it can do the math calculation. That's a great question. So I'm going to ask it real quickly because I want an additional visualization. Can you provide me with a visualization of the reading in math scores over the course of the year as a line graph illustrating the trends throughout the year. I wanted to add that because I feel like this time it produced a box plot. And I don't like box plots really well as a visualization. If I'm going to show that to any sort of stakeholder group, box plots will show the variability of the scores between those areas. But this is not a plugin. This is GPT-4 data analysis tool. Oh, perfect. Here we go. So it shows the scores. So we can see over time, reading's gone up, and then we can see math dipped in Q2. Maybe we covered something difficult, or maybe a lot of students were out. Who knows? But we'll maybe find out later. And then it shoots up later on for Q3 and 4. So here we go. Perfect. So,
are you ready to revolutionize your professional learning? It's time to ignite your passion with EduMatch. Inspire, connect, and grow. Access over 150 professional learning facilitators and explore a wide range of educational topics. This is not just professional development, this is a movement. Discover how EduMatch can support your school or district. Connect with us today and make a world of difference for your students. To learn more, visit us online at edumatch.org.
Let's go to the next piece here is that we want to take this information and turn it into informed practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this prompt here telling us you're an educational researcher. So I'm going to go and open up a new chat, and I'm going to go to plugins on GPT-4 and use consensus. It's a database of 250 million research articles. So I'm putting in this prompt here. You're an educational researcher, take the X data analysis and result. I'm going to copy and paste the major overall trends here from my previous chat. And then it's going to give me a list of articles that I'm going to go further look at. And I'm going to put that in here now. I'm going to go to my previous one. And then I'm going to go to my main themes up above here. So that was from another one I did. I did this exact same presentation over the last couple weeks. Oh, come on. I'll do this one. I'll do this one from earlier in the week. It's the same one, but I kind of talked a little bit about this in a little bit different ways, but I'm going to upload this. So I'm taking this recommendations of the data, and let's pop it into this new chat. And then here we go. And then I'm going to go and pop in this prompt here. And then I'm going to GPT. All right, so now here we go. I'm going to put it above this right here. Okay, here we go. Sorry, it took a moment. Consensus is in, it's the plugin. Now let's go, let's play. So now it's using the consensus 250 million research article plugin. And it's going to now provide me with several research articles that I should check out. So it's talking about, and to be honest, I think the prompt that I provided for that consensus it wasn't great. I need probably, if I'm thinking about it from a research lens, looking more specifically as to what I want in the studies. So yeah, so it's offering a number of these recommendations here, extensive reading components, and it's talking about these right here. These are all articles I can go check out. So I'm going to click on, say, for example, I'm just curious about this article, and say I wanted to read the entire text here. I'm going to go to full text. But say, for example, I'm not really wanting to read an entire like 20-pager. So I'm going to go to Mr. Claude, and I'm going to upload this PDF into Claude, and I'm going to have it read it for me, and I'm going to break it down into the parts of the study. And people can go as far as they want with this. I think that we can dive deeper into certain things here. I could do it on ChatGPT. Well, to be honest, since the new update, I've been not uploading a ton of PDFs to ChatGPT. I need to play with it more. To be honest, I like Claude Summary. I mean, you could do both. I just for this particular workflow, I've historically used Claude, and I think it's done a pretty good job. But like I said, I need to play with the uploading feature to ChatGPT. But let's go ahead and do that right now and see. I would have to start a new chat anyway, so I'll do that in a second. So I'm going to ask it. You are a researcher, or I'm going to say you are a teacher looking to read this article. Can you provide me with the results of the article, methodology, research, findings from the literature review, and then and we could go further than this from the literature review. Can you also tell me who the sample population is? I think Merlin's good. I think you just got to pay for it. So I like how it does this because it just gives me the key findings quickly, and I can go ahead and look at specific things I would like. So first off, if I'm a third grade teacher, this article is not probably going to be doing great for me because they use two groups of university students. So I need to narrow my search a little bit, but see how it provides me this here. I like this because it just tells me exactly what this is discussing in a very short sample here. And if I want to go deeper, I can into the article if I want. But I like this workflow quite a bit. And you can upload multiple PDFs of this. So what I've done is I've uploaded like 5 PDFs of this, and I've asked it to do for each. So that is that particular workflow. Let's go ahead and just try this real quick with GPT-4. I think this is fine. Let's see if this works. I think it's going to do just as well, but let's take a look real quick. And I'm going to put in this same prompt here. Let's take a look and see how this does. And I like how you asked that question earlier because, to be honest, I haven't played with this a ton yet since this big update. So I think what I like about ChatGPT is it does tell you its process and thinking, although Claude just gets right to the point when you upload the PDF. So I thought that was definitely interesting. Yeah, I don't like how it's taking forever to do this. So that's something to note. So here's the reading interventions here. And say, for example, this is the data analysis and discussion that we had earlier. So
EduMatch Publishing is dedicated to inspiring a love of reading in children one story at a time. Our books are designed for all ages and are written by educators for all students. Our goal is to transform your home or classroom into a world of reading, where students can explore and learn. As the publishing branch of EduMatch, we're proud to offer books that are created by experts in the field of education. Order your books today and start a new tradition with the special kiddos in your life. Visit our website to learn more.
So I'm going to now take, let's say we want to create an action plan now. Say I'm working with my department, or even just, even for our school. So I'm going to take this prompt here, and I would like to create an action plan so we can implement these really sort of recommendations. So let's go back here, and I'm going to go to here. Now, do not use, I'm going to say now, let's say now I would like to use the first study. Say, for example, I wanted to use the first study. Actually, I'm going to say 1, 3, and 7. I would like to use the study results and strategies for studies 1, 3, and 7. Can you summarize those along with the initial themes I placed in my first prompt? So I'm going to do this before I copy and paste the action plan prompt. So here we go. It's going to So it's giving me these results that I put in already, and now it's going to, I selected these studies, and then I'm going to copy and paste this prompt here. All right, so now it's going to say, we're action plan based on the results of this analysis. We determined that we must implement these interventions stated above. We would like the first progress monitor system where we would like to first progress monitor system where we collect the data based on these results monthly. Additionally, we would like to create an overarching goal of this action plan and designate 6 of our group members' roles and responsibilities. Last, provide analysis and representation outline to present teachers and school community related to the action plan. And then last, also create a Excel sheet for us to monitor the data over time based on this overall report you are generating. So now it's generating the progress monitoring system and action plan. So create our goal here. And then it's providing us with a progress monitoring system here. And then it's giving me the roles and responsibilities of this group of teachers or school leaders. And it's giving us the presentation that we could provide to stakeholders. And now it's creating an Excel sheet for us for the data monitoring piece. So let's go ahead and see what this pops out. Sometimes it's pretty cool. So Now it's sometimes it did a hallucination. So let's see how it does it. I'll pull that up in a second. I'm going to say yes, because I like the various cheats it's providing here for this Excel. Looking at it above, attendance data, reading score data, math scores data, intervention tracking, and then monthly summary. Okay. One mistake that I did make, by the way, I need to open up a new chat because I was using a plugin versus the data. So I'm going to copy and paste this here. Create an Excel sheet based on this structure. Sorry about that. I thought that I had coded, I had to go back and forth between the data analysis tool and the plugins. And with the data analysis tool, it can create spreadsheets for you based on what you would like. So that's pretty cool. And I'll pop it up for a second. All right, so here's the Excel sheet. I've downloaded it. Let's go see what it looks like. And can everyone see my Excel? Can anyone
We're
see
still
my?
seeing your chat.
Okay, let me go ahead and. Can you see my Excel now?
Now it's there.
So this is the Excel sheet it just created. It created the columns for reading scores for students. And we can see we can track the interventions. And then a monthly summary here where we can place these scores. Pretty cool how we can take the data that we collect and then essentially analyze it, look at the research, provide recommendations, and then what we can then do is vet the research, create the action plan, and then essentially create the goals related to action plan, responsibilities, and then we can develop a data sheet that tracks that progress monitoring over time. One of the biggest areas I think when we're doing data-driven decision making, we don't use we don't progress monitor well. And I think that this can provide us with opportunities to really progress monitor in a way that allows us to really keep track of things a lot easier. And it just allows us to do this quite efficiently. And I have about 7-8 minutes left. So I'm just going to kind of summarize the work here. So this is the workflow. So you collect the data, you do the data analysis using AI, develop reports and action plans, the progress monitor. So there's essentially 3 steps in that data analysis piece. You can include the research piece for those evidence-based practices. And then it's just a continuous flow here. So that's ultimately what it looks like overall. And I've done this on data dialogues for our consortium of schools, which has been really interesting. And I also, for example, in data dialogue meetings or discussions, we use this as essentially the third party. We kind of provide our own analysis and provide our own context into the data, but then we utilize a tool like this to provide us with recommendations as well as help us develop that action plan based on its own analysis as well as what we were able to determine. So I think that that's kind of really how we're using it practically when it comes to looking at a large group of schools. All righty. Before we get going, what are in the chat, right? 3 main ideas that you were able to take from this presentation, and then what are 2 extensions that you're going to further explore? So, for example, like what are you going to further explore after this presentation based upon what I discussed? And then, do you have any questions? So, go ahead and write your 3 main ideas that you took away. What are 2 things that you're going to further explore and work on? And then I'll take any questions right now. Yeah, they are both fantastic tools. I really love consensus. I think consensus is game changing. And I presented this to grad students, and I've been doing this workflow with doc students because um, it really helped with the workflow and it makes things much faster. And then, yeah, you can do this on the data that you collect in your classroom and schools quite easily. And it can really be just game changing in terms of the time it takes. Yeah, and I love how it can create the progress monitoring tools, which are very much, I think, essential in ensuring that, the strategies and things that you're going to do based on your analysis, you're going to keep track of them and utilize them in your practice. Well, I appreciate everyone attending. I'm going to put the link to this presentation and the chat into this into the Zoom chat right now. Here is the presentation, and then I'm going to do the data analysis and discussion. Here's the chat for the data analysis and discussion right here. With that said, any last questions? I hope to connect with you on social media if I already haven't. At Matt Rhoads 1990 on X, and then Dr. Rhoads View on Instagram, Threads, and then Matthew Rhoads on LinkedIn. And then I hope that you can check out my website and my books, blog, podcasts, all that fun stuff. So I appreciate your time.